The next tab is minutes. Now, minutes also includes minutes and resolutions. Anything that is a recorded item of an execution that took place with the officers, with the board of directors, with the stockholders, any one of those particular offices, that would all be handled in the section entitled minutes. For your organizational minutes, what we've done is we've put together an index where you can identify the page numbers of where specific things are executed to get the corporation going. You see, you don't just think of a corporation name and then all of a sudden you're the president. It doesn't happen that way. You have to go through the process. And so the minutes is going to show you that process. Let's get started. The first thing that you'll see is the waiver of notice of a meeting. Anytime that you have a meeting, you have to have a notice because you want to let everyone know that the meeting is going to happen. So what we've done is we've included a waiver of that notice, because if you're the only person there, or if you and your husband are the only person there, or if you and your wife are the only person there, then maybe you don't need to send out an official notice. You don't need to email or messenger or courier over the notice that the meeting's going to occur. You just want to let everyone know. So when you let everyone know, have everyone sign that waiver of notice. That means that they know when the meeting is going to occur and that they're going to be there. When they sign it, then at least they know when the meeting is going to occur. So the first meeting that we see is the first meeting of the incorporators. As the incorporator, you have to have a meeting that says that you want to get the incorporation done, that you want to have a temporary chairman in place to make sure that things are proposed and in place, because you've got to get started with the business. So that's that first meeting, the incorporator calling to order all the things that need to be put in place to get the business done. Who signs the first meeting of the incorporators? It'll be whoever is the temporary chairman and the temporary secretary. So get those signatures in those places. The next thing that you'll see is the waiver of the notice of the board of directors meeting. So who gets notified? All of the directors. So whoever is a board of director of your corporation, make sure that they know the place, date, and time of that next meeting. You have the next meeting, and that meeting is the board of directors, and at that meeting you're going to nominate who the president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer is going to be. Once you have identified those individuals that the board of directors has nominated, then you would have that meeting. Also, you're approving different things that are occurring within the binder. You're approving the bylaws. You're making sure all those things are the way that you want them to be. Well, then the secretary is going to sign it and endorse that that's what happened at the meeting, and it's going to be attested, verified, signed by also the board of directors. Then the last meeting you're going to have is going to be that stockholders meeting. So then that also has a waiver. So whoever the stockholders are, sign that you know when that meeting is going to take place. And when that meeting takes place, the stockholders, those owners of the companies, they verify and certify everything. The binder, the bylaws, the seal, the ledger, everything that goes on in that binder, it is actually going to be approved by the stockholders. So the secretary signs it for taking those minutes, and it's attested to by somebody who was present at the meeting. That officially completes your organizational minutes. The next tab is your SS4/state filing. Well, this section holds the Form SS4, which is the application for the employer identification number from the IRS. So we've placed a copy of it for you inside of your binder, and you'll be able to see in the top right hand corner your EIN number. That's an acronym for Employer Identification Number, also known as your tax ID number. So if someone asks you for your tax ID number, it's this very same number, the one assigned from the IRS. So that is your SS4. The other items that you could have inside of this particular section would also be any state filings or documents which could be like a business license, a seller's permit, anything that was issued out that's an official license, you would want to keep in this section. This is your SS4 estate filing section. Miscellaneous. Under miscellaneous, you can find such things that might not fit in other places, like benefits, insurance policies, things that you voted on that made sense for the board to agree to that you're executing, but that are not quite minutes, or that might not be organizing documents, or that are not state filing. So those types of things, they can fit inside this miscellaneous section. Be careful, don't overload it with things that you're just trying to put in the binder. Make sure it's important enough. So miscellaneous, all those other things that don't quite fit in other places. The next section is stock ledger. The stock ledger is going to tell the story of how your stock moves. Stock and shares are interchangeable terms. So if you refer to yourself as a stockholder or a shareholder, it's interchangeable. You'll see on this form you would put the name of the stockholder, the place of the residence, the time they became the owner, and the stock number, the certificate number, and the number of shares. That's going to denote how much ownership that individual has. So if it's the original issue, meaning that it's for your investment that you've made into the corporation, you would just put the name, 100% or 100,000 shares, however many you have, and that it's the original issue. Now you'll see that if you turn it back in, if you sell it back to the company, if you sold it to someone else, you have to surrender that certificate and those number of shares, and then it gets reissued out again. So if you have 100,000 shares and you sold 20,000 to someone else, you've got to turn in that certificate and you will be reissued 80,000, and that new person would be reissued out 20,000. So it moves as you sell it in and out. And that story of movement has to be denoted on the stock ledger.